Okay, I think to save us time, I,
Mm-hmm.
I should get started on this.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say thank you for attending, everyone. And not I didn't get ready for this. So hello, everyone. Welcome to week 5 of From Design to Market, a mentorship and proudly brought by you by WTM Ethiopia. I'm Bethel Adbisu, one of the WTM ambassadors. So I'll be hosting this event with my other co-host Eden, that is running a bit late. So for those of you who are new to Google WTM Makers, it is a global initiative by Google where we provide visibility, community, and resources for women in technology. So our mission is just simply uh, b- to be powerful in tech and build the world together while all women thrive in tech. So let's go through the event. We go through event like this one, training opportunities, mentorships, and networking to amplify our stories and incredible work. So truly, we are honored to be joined by an inspiring guest, Goeun Lee, a talented front-end engineer at Cloudflare, and she'll be walking us through everything from core fundamentals of React to hooks routing, state management, and even practicing of building scalable front-end apps. So whether you're just getting started or looking for a dip in your knowledge, this is an amazing place to be in. So I'll leave the stage to Goeun Lee. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. And I'm a bit nervous, but I'll just try my best to do anything. Just let me just get started. So, hi everyone, and I think I'm repeating myself, but thank you so much for being here today. And my name is Goen, but I usually go by Go, which is like way simpler and way easy to remember. And I'm a front-end engineer currently working at Cloudflare here in London. Before this, I spent about 3 years working in South Korea, which I'm from, mostly at startups. So I'm used to wearing a lot of hats, building UI, working closely with designers, PMs, CEO, and even stakeholders, and sometimes even managing backend stuff as well. So I moved to London in about 8 months ago, and now I'm part of the Zero Trust UI team at Cloudflare. So you might know us from the little verify you're a human that screen when you visit some websites, and that's one of our features. But Cloudflare does a lot more than that. So my team builds dashboards that help companies or individuals control access to internal systems and applications. And we build all of that for the UI side using React every single day. And so everything I'll share with you today is based on real experience, things that are actually used in production. Now, whether you're new to React or brushing up on the basics, I hope this session will make things click for you. So, thank you, thank you. And so here's what we'll go through today. We're going to start with the fundamentals of React, how it works under the hood, and how to build components that are reusable and maintainable, which are the core concepts for us front-end engineers. And then we'll dive into a live coding session where we'll build a small to-do app together. But it's not just a toy project. I'll use it to show you real concepts that come up in production, like state management, props, and component structure. If you're working at a startup or smaller teams, you'll see how these patterns scale. So, and after that, I'll give you a quick peek into React 19, which came out last December 2024 with some major new features. And I'll walk you through three of the most interesting ones and how they'll affect the way we write React code going forward. And at the end, we'll open up for Q&A for sure. So feel free to ask anything I'm not sure if I can answer everything, but I'll try my best. Or if I'll be like stuck, I'll just like email you and DM you back whenever I have an answer, or I ask for my mentors to get back answers. So, yeah, let's get started. So, all right. So, what exactly is React? At its core, React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. It's not a full-blown framework like Angular or Next.js. It just focuses on one thing, the UI, the visual part of your application. So the key idea behind React is components. You can think of components like reusable building blocks. For example, a button, like as you can see on everywhere on the screen, the button or a card that our face is on, the tile, or even an entire page that we are seeing at the Google Meet. All of these could be a component. Instead of writing a giant HTML file with everything mixed together, you split your UI into smaller parts, each with its own logic and appearance. And another important thing about React is the virtual DOM. Now, without getting too deep into how browsers works, I might not know. Updating the real DOM is expensive. It's slow unless we know what exactly is changing or we're updating everything every single time. And consistently re-rendering the entire page, even for a tiny change, means the browser has to recalculate layout, repaint elements, and potentially rerun JavaScript. And that adds up quickly and makes your application feel sluggish, super slow, and which is a nightmare for us front-end engineers, I would say. So, so React keeps a lightweight version of the DOM in memory, and that's the virtual DOM. And whenever something changes, it compares the old and new versions, figures out exactly what changed, and then updates only that part of the page, which should be a lot faster. So this makes React applications so really fast, and you don't have to manually touch the DOM. So no more like document that get element by ID or inner HTML stuff. So instead, you focus on what the UI should look like given the current state of the application. And React takes care of the rest, which is the best part for us. So, okay, so now we know what React is. Let's talk about why so many people use it. And like, we use so many like job postings and postings about hiring the React engineers, and also why people are like hyping about this, why people are using it so much. And the first big reason is that React is declarative. And what that means is instead of writing step-by-step instructions for what the browser should do, you just describe what you want the UI to look like. And React React figures out the rest. Let's say you only want to show a welcome message when the user is logged in. In a traditional approach, you'd probably have to check if the user is logged in, find the part of the page where the message goes, and then show or hide the element manually. But with React, you just write something on the screen, like is logged in and the welcome message, and that's it. React takes care of showing or hiding that paragraph whenever it is logged in changes. So if is logged in, the value is true, we can show that welcome message, and if not, that message is hidden. So it's that simple. So it feels a lot more natural and readable, right? So that means React is declarative. And the second reason is that React is component based. Like we said earlier, everything in React is a component, and components are reusable. You can build a button once and then use it in 10 different places, or like hundreds, thousands different places, like you can just reuse everywhere every time. So if you update it one place within that component, it updates everywhere. So you don't have to go every places that you use that button. You have to like change or update them everywhere that's used manually. You can just update in one place in that component. So it makes your code easier to manage, especially as your application grows. And the last reason is it's proven at scale. So React powers some of the biggest applications in the world: Instagram, Netflix, Airbnb, and actually the product, the Zero Trust product that I work on at Cloudflare too. So it has a huge ecosystem and tons of learning resources, and it keeps evolving in a way that supports both beginners and advanced teams. So whether you're building a personal blog or a startup MVP or a giant enterprise dashboard, React can scale with you and scale with us. So, all right. So now we know what React is and why we use it. Let's get started by actually setting up a new React app. So until a few years ago, most people use something called Create React App. But in 2024, that's no longer the recommended way. So instead, the React team now recommends tools like Vite, Parcel, or RS Build. And today we'll use Vite. You can see it on the title, the pretty logo, which is a V shape, supposed to be the V shape and with the thunder. Yeah, that is a Vite. And if I'm not sure if I'm right, and I might be mistaken, but I think Vite is the originated from a French word, fast. So I think that's why we don't call it Vite. It's Vite. So I'm not sure, but I just heard that. So you need to double check that too. But yeah, so as its name stands for, Vite is a super fast modern build tool. It gives you instant hot reloading, minimal config, and works great with TypeScript out of the box. So let's go ahead and set up a new project. So let me just change where I share. Let's just share my terminal. Yeah, and just heads up, I'm gonna do a lot of like changing the sharing screen, so you might get dizzy a little bit. So yeah, this is my terminal. By the way, I'm using Warp, but you can just pull up any terminal you want. And what was my comment here? Okay, so here is our command to create a React app. You can see the comment here, right? You can see it. Huh? Is it too small? Or is it too long? Yeah, okay, cool. So we have this command here. So let's break that down together. So npm vite at latest. This tells npm to run the latest version of Vite's project scaffolding tool, like npx create React app, but for Vite. So this stands for that. And we have my app here. My app is the name of the new project folder. So you can replace it with any folder name you want. So it could be your name, it could be your pet's name. So basically anything you want. And we have this dash dash like here in between. Oh, it's hard to grab. Okay, there's two. This is important. It tells npm to pass the following arguments directly to the Vite scaffolding tool instead of interpreting them as options for npm itself. So without this, npm would try to process dash dash template React here as its own flag. So in short, this dash dash, this is a way to forward options to Vite, not to npm. So this is important to have it here. And Next, we have dash dash template React. This specifies the template to use. So in this case, it's the React template, which sets up a React project with Vite. So you can, so we have dash dash template and React for here to set up a React project. But if you want to set up a React and TypeScript setup, you can just do dash ts. This will create you the React and TypeScript project. But for now, I'm just going to create a React app here. Let me just run. Done. Done. And here are the recommended commands to run afterwards. So once that runs, we should go into that folder with the cd that command, which means change directory. So my app. Yeah, I'm in this folder, as you can see, and we can install with npm install or npm I. We can install the dependencies. It takes a little bit of time. Oh, it was fast. And then we can start the development server with npm run dev. Oh, it's recommending the comment. So let me just tap. Ta-da! It's running. It's up and running on this local server, localhost 5173. It's usually something like this. This local server. So we can just open that up in our browser. Let me just stop sharing. And I told you it's gonna be a lot of a lot of switching tabs. Let me just show you. Boom. This is your new React application. So yeah, I think it's pretty enough, but and now if you open the folder in VS Code, I'm terribly sorry, I need to switch again. So bear with me. So let me just open the VS Code, and you can use any code editor you want, but I prefer using VS Code with Copilot. So let me just show you that. I'm gonna share it right now. Okay, my app found it. So this is our folder. So in these folders, you can see the source directory here. Source directory, this folder. We have, so if you open the, you'll see this source directory src folder with files like main.jsx or the main app.jsx. And we'll start editing app.jsx shortly. So for now, going back to Vite for now, and the beauty of Vite is that, oh, can you maximize the screen? Like this? Okay. Yeah, then, yeah, if I do that, I'm gonna a little bit lost. How to do, okay. I'm back in the track. Okay, so let's get back to Vite. So the beauty of Vite is that it's fast, as I've told you like 1,000 times, and like it has almost like instant refresh when you save your code, and it doesn't come with a bunch of unnecessary files, as you can see on these folders. Like it's so minimal. Like it only has like minimal configurations, so it's lightweight and clean for beginners and other people too. So that's our new React app. And from here, we'll start diving into components and JSX in the next slide. And I'm not going to show you the slide because I think it's rather to show you the actual code editor rather than having the code on the screen, on the slide. So I'm just going to show you this. And cool. So now that we have our React app set up, let's talk about the building blocks of a React application, components. In React, a component is just a JavaScript function that returns some JSX. And JSX is this HTML-like, these things. JSX is just this HTML-like syntax you write inside JavaScript. And let's look at a super simple example like this. Let me just copy and paste. Oh, actually, I don't have to. Let me just write it down. Hello. Yeah, not sure why, but we always do hello world. So I'm gonna show you this. So that's the thing that you are seeing on the code editor, the VS Code, is that's actually a valid React component. You can export this and render it inside your application. So let's just see what's happening here. So we define the function called app, and that function returns JSX, which is this h1 tag here. You can see. And this lives inside your JavaScript, right? So that's what JSX is for. And JSX is what makes React so readable and intuitive. It blends your markup with logic. And for this JSX, now we have a couple of small things to note. So you have to use class name instead of class because class is a reserved word in JavaScript. But I can show you like a fun, quick thing here. You want to test. Let me just gonna add the red color. Oh, is it working? Is it this one? I don't remember. Huh. Let me just do that. And if you add class and test, it's actually working. If I want to show you the actually working one, it's gonna be. I should switch the sharing again. So if that's okay with you, let me just show you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, let me show you the. I hope you are not feeling dizzy about this. Ah, okay, I forgot to run the dev server. Okay. Sorry, it's not maximized one, so you can see it's actually, is it this one working? Oh yeah, it's working. So as you can see, I added the task class. I just changed the color to red. So we can see the obvious change. So it's now in red, right? But why? You just told me class won't work. But why? But for this case, class is working because browser is taking care of the class for now. But for you, if you want to make React to handle the classes, you need to use class name instead of class. So it's working, but it's not recommended way. It should be we should avoid to use class we should use class name instead. It was a funny thing. Maybe it's just funny for me. So let's just get back to the code. Let me just show you this. Okay. And where was I? Okay, and then we need the one more thing that we need to highlight here is curly brace syntax, curly braces. Okay, so let me just add let me just do this first. Remove the class. Oops, sorry. And instead of word, I want to print name. And what name is? it should be my name. And you can replace it with your name too. So this curly brace syntax here around the name tells React to evaluate the variable and insert the value into the JSX. So once you get used to this syntax, JSX becomes super powerful. So you can conditionally render stuff and map over arrays and even nest components. So if you're okay, let me show you the screen again one more time. So let me just show you this screen, the vid. So for now, as you can see, my name is rendering correctly with around that curly brace syntax. So let me just change the name. You're not seeing it, but I'm changing that constant from Go to our beautiful host. I spelled it right, right? So yeah, it's changing instantly, right? As I've told you that Vid is rendering like with the instant speed, so you can really tell it's changing. Like after you're saving the code, it's changing so instant, so you can really see how it's fast, like how fast it's changing. So let's just let me just check. Oh, and then and we'll get to all of that, but for now, just remember React components are functions that returns JSX, and that's it. If we understand that, we are already halfway there. Yeah, sorry. Might be a lie, but yeah, we are halfway there for sure. And let me just show you my code editor one more time. And for now, that we've seen how to write a basic component, and that we're just gonna talk about how we can reuse components by making them dynamic. So in React, we use something called props, short for properties. Props let you pass data from a parent component down to a child. And let me show you what that looks like. So I prefer creating the component folder to store all the components. So let me just create greeting component and give me a sec. So we are gonna receive the name as a prop. And you're gonna, thank you, Copilot. And here we are accepting a name prop as a parameter. Then we are using it in our JSX. So if we write in the app file, if we are importing it like this and passing a beautiful host name and my name too. At the same time, it should look like hello, Betel. Am I pronouncing it right? I'm so sorry. Okay, thank you. Hello, go. Okay. It should it should print it as displayed as hello, Betel. Hello, go. So, and this is one of the superpowers of React. You can write one component, which is greeting in this time, and reuse it with different data, with different name, different data. And that means less code duplication and more consistency across your application. And let me pause here and highlight something important. So props here, which was the name, is read only. So a child component can read the prop values, but it shouldn't try to modify them. So we are just accepting these props and we just read them, not modify them. And this one-way data flow makes your application much easier to reason about. You know exactly where the data is coming from the top, from the top down, from the parent to child. So in this case, from the app file to the greeting component. So also, if you're wondering about this syntax here, about around this the props, that's just JavaScript object structuring. So you could also write like this. So it works in the same way. It should print as hello Patel, hello Go in the same way. But as you just witnessed, this structuring is shorter and easier to read and prettier, I would say. So most people use this structuring way, and I prefer that too. But if you prefer the props that way, you can use it. But most people use the destructuring in for the props. So for that, going back to components. So if components are like Lego blocks, props are the custom stickers. So in this case, we have a grading component. We have this type of Lego block. We have name that sticker to put it on the grading component. So they let you keep your components generic while still customizing them as needed. And this is what makes React really scalable. It's all about composing small focused components together with the data they need. And so far, we've looked at basic components and how to pass data using props. But what if we want our application to be interactive? Let's say I want to click a button and increases a number on the screen, or maybe I type something into an input box and see that value update in real time. That's where state comes in. In React, state is how we store and track changes to data that affect what the user sees on the screen. And the most common way to manage state in React is with a built-in hook called useState. So you're going to see this every single day, every single time. And let me show you a really simple example, a counter. To be honest, our default, the template that Vid is giving us has the counter here. Yeah, I think that's the basic classic example. So I think that's why they put it in here. So let me just reuse it in a React way. And let me just change the copy real quick. You click count times. So here's what's happening here. So let me just share what's happening. So we call use state to 0, and that gives us two things on the left here, count and set count. So count, which holds the current value, and set count, which is a function we can call to update the value. So the button has a on-click handler. Every time it's clicked, we call set count, count plus 1, which increases the number by 1, the counter by 1. You can pass it or doesn't pass it. It works the same way. Just keep the default template they gave. And the cool part, when the state changes, React automatically re-renders the component. So we see the updated count on the screen. So we don't have to go find this text in the DOM and manually update the text for this change. We don't have to do that anymore. React just takes care of it. That's what we mean when we say React is declarative. You describe what the UI should look like based on the current state. For this case, it's count. And React figures out how to update it when things change. And that's a big shift from how things we used to work with in vanilla JavaScript or jQuery, where we do stuff like document.querySelector, like button and inner text to count. and then remember to update it everywhere you're using this state. That's crazy. And with React, you don't need to worry about that anymore. You just say if count this state is 3, you just show you clicked 3 times. And React handles the rest, which is the best part for us. So let me just show you how it should look like on the browser. Uh, Browser here. So as you can see, we have a counter. We click it, and this count, that state is changing. And we don't see the reloading, right? We're just seeing this component is changing. It's re-rendering, but we don't see the like huge reloading for like reducing that UX part. So it's updating that fast, and it's updating only this part, which is pretty cool. And let me, oh, ooh, no, no, no. Yeah, that's why I can't show you the entire page. And not the funny thing, but sad thing is I practiced this speak this speech, the workshop, like for 10 times, and I'm still sweating. Thank you so much.
You're doing amazing.
Ah, thank you so much. That's why you're on my example names. Thank you. Hope I didn't. Hope I pronounced your name right.
You did it correctly. On
Ah,
the
phew!
first.
First try, I got it. Thank you so much. Now I'm so confident. Okay, thank you, thank you. So going back to the slides, so to recap, use state lets us create and update local state inside the component. And we never change the value directly, as we said. And instead, we call the setter function, which was the set count in our example. And when the state changes, the UI updates automatically. Remember that the counter is changing without us doing anything. So it was changing, it was updating automatically. So this is one of the core building blocks of interactive React applications, and we will use it a lot in our hands-on to-do app. And speaking of which, next up, we'll take a look at how we can combine use state with form input so that we, when a user types something, we can store and track that input in real time. But it's better to show my code editor, right? That doesn't seem right. Let me show you my VS Code one more time. And here, I'm gonna talk about the forms, which is like the best friend for front-end engineers, I would say. So in React, we handle user input using something called a controlled component. The idea here is instead of the browser keeping track of the value inside an input field, we as developers take control over it using React state. So let me show you what that looks like. I think we are running out of time, so let me just copy and paste. Let me just copy and paste. Yeah, we have a name input here. And let's just walk it through together and what's going on here. So first, we declare some state. We use state, name, and set name. And we start with an empty string because we haven't got any values from users yet. And then we create an input field here. And the important part here is value to name. This part is important because that means the input value is always tied to React state, which is name in this case. And we have our own change handler, which is which is updates our state whenever the user types. So every time the user presses a key, we are updating the name state with the new input, and the UI responds immediately. And notice we are also showing the user their name in real time with hello name. So it's pretty cool. Now, why do we call this a controlled component? Because the value inside the input is being controlled by React, controlled by this React. And it's stored in state, not managed by the DOM. So that's why it's called controlled component. And that gives us full control over the input field. We can reset it, validate it, disable it, or even pre-fill it with saved data, and all through state. So let's look at how we can handle form submission. So I brought some slightly expanded version. Let me just copy and paste. Is it gonna work? Yeah, cool. So the difference from the name input that we just covered is we have a handle submit, the function to handle the submit. And we have a form tag around the input and button. So the form is gonna have a on submit handler, which is triggering the handle submit this function. So when we hit submit here, we call event prevent default. This is to stop the page from reloading. So without it, the page is gonna reloading, like entire page is gonna reload. And then we show an alert with the current name on here. And finally, we reset the input field by calling set name to empty string again. And it's really important to always clear your state whenever you're submitting something. So that's it. That's super clean and super easy to manage. And this is the form that we are gonna build together. And to recap, let me show you this one together. And to recap, a controlled component is an input element where the value is tied to state. As we saw in the example, value was tied to name state. And this gives us full control. We always know what the user has typed. And when the state changes, the input updates accordingly. We'll use this idea heavily in our to-do app, especially for adding new to-dos with a text input. So speaking of which, it's time to switch gears and actually build something together. Finally, yay. So, all right, before we start, I'm so sorry. Before we start, we've talked about state, props, and controlled components. Now it's time to put it all together by actually building something together. We are going to build a simple but realistic to-do app, which covers everything we just talked about. And this is a classic example, but we are going to do it in a way that reflects real-world React patterns, and especially if you're coming from a TypeScript or production background. And we'll build it in TypeScript, and we'll structure it the way you might see in a real code base. And for example, and funny thing is that I think to-do app was like the most frequent project that I was building at the live coding interviews. So when I was a junior, so I have to make it so many times when I was doing the live coding interviews. So I think if you're interested in these to-do apps, this is a great And lastly, we have to-do stats. And this shows how many to-dos are completed versus total. And each of these will be written in TypeScript and live in its own file, just like in a real project. And we'll also make sure we cover how to define types for our to-dos, how to manage state with user state, and how to lift state up and pass it down using props, and how to handle form submission and checkboxes, and lastly, how to conditional rendering. And by the end, we'll be able to add to-dos, toggle them as completed, and delete them, and see a live count on completed tasks. Um, okay, and if you're following along on your own laptop or later on from the GitHub repo, which is the QR code, by the way, I created them and I put it up on my GitHub repository. So if you want to do that, just go there and download it or whatever you want. And I walk you through the code step by step and explain what's going on at each stage. And we are not using Redux or external libraries for this one. We are going to just use React, TypeScript, and good component structure. And all right, it's time to build something. Let's dive into the code and build this together. Let me switch the page one more time. Is it the same thing? Okay. Oh, but before that, remember to install your React TypeScript app. I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna use this my app, and I'm gonna install that template. Oh, no. Okay. Template app using React TX. Give me a sec. I'll just go there to do it. Yeah, I know I'm not showing you my screen, but I just do the same thing I just show you. I had like 30 minutes before. Code, okay. Let me switch it the screen. This is the one. Thank you for bearing with me. Let me just start over. Cool. So let's start with our main component, to-do app. This is going to be the parent container for our entire app. It'll manage the list of to-dos and pass data and functions down to the children. So you can reuse this app.tsx, but I want to rename it, and I want to rename it here too. So you can just leave it as it is, but I prefer renaming it because it's gonna confuse me later. So if you change the name for the file, you should also rename it here as well. Let's get back to here and remove everything that I don't use, and let's start from here, from scratch. And since we are using TypeScript, the first thing we want to do is define a type for a single to-do. So I know my copilot is kicking it. So let me just see if it's doing it right. But for now, I want to use the done instead of completed. So we are keeping it simple here. Each to-do will have an ID, which is number, type, a text, and a done state, whether it's completed or not. So I like to define types like this right at the top of the file, or in a separate types.ts file if I'm working on a larger project. But for today, we are just going to have a simple, minimal project. So I'm just going to leave it here. And next, let's bring in use state and create a state variable for list of to-dos. Yeah, thank you, Copilot. And the funny thing is I installed Copilot after I decide to join this workshop because my typing is so slow. I can't do this within the time. For this means to do is an array of to do object that we just defined. And we use set to do's to update it. And the to do is when you sneak peek it, it's an array of to do object. And it starts of an empty array here as we set the initial value. And now we'll add a function to handle adding a to do. So we're going to call it add to do. Copilot. Yeah. And I think using a Copilot is really great, but I think we need to always verify if these codes are what we meant to write. And for now, it's perfect. So let me just walk it through. We create on this to do function, we create a new to object like this. And for ID, we are giving it a unique ID using date.now. It's returning the number type, as you can see here. But if you want to be sure if this ID is unique, you can use like UUID to make sure if it's unique enough. And for text, we are gonna hand over this text that we received from this function here, and we're gonna set the done state to false because we haven't completed this new to do yet. So we're just gonna set like this, and then we update the list using the spread operator here to add a new to do at the end. This pattern is really common in React. You often see immutable updates like this, where we create a new array instead of modifying the existing one. So if you followed stuff, if you followed along with me for today, you heard a lot of things that we don't modify things. So I think that's what React is going forward. So we don't mutate things, we don't modify things, we just gonna update things. So I think that's a key thing to remember today as well. Yeah, I'm gonna do this stuff. So and now let's write two more functions. I think Copilot is more ready than me. So let's just do that. I want to toggle whether a to-do is done and another to delete the to-do. So let's just create the toggle to-do first. And let's verify together exactly what I want to do. And no, I want to name it to delete to-do. And the code, perfect. So what we have done here, not me, but Copilot has done here, is for toggle to do function, it flips the done state. So we use map function here. We are mapping through the existing to do array and finding the to do object that has ID that we gave. And if we found the matching to do that has the same ID that we just gave, and we're going to flip that to do's done state with this exclamation point. And if it's not the matching to do, we're just gonna make them stay as the same and keep them as it is. And then for the delete to do, we're gonna just do the similar thing, but we're gonna filtering the existing to dos array and find the matching to do. And if that has the same ID as that we are looking for, we're gonna filtering out. And if it's not same, it's gonna stay inside the to-dos. So that's what that meant. And both of these follow React best practices. As I've told you 1,000 times today, no mutation, just pure updates. And now in the return block of to-do app, we'll render the other components. So let me just, okay, wait for you to, no. We are gonna add the add to-do form with the on add. Oh, it's doing it. And we are going to add the to-do item as we said. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit later. But this is why I said we need to verify the code that Copilot is giving us. We need to handle the ID here. Okay. And for the last part, we need the to-do stats. But we are not going to do like this. We're going to hand the total number and the done number. But let me just copy and paste. So it's all giving us red because we haven't made these components and we haven't imported them yet. So let's just let's just walk through first and then create them later. So this add to the form will be a controlled form component, and we'll pass the add to do function down as on add handler. And inside this UL tag, the unordered list, we map through all to-dos and render each as to-do item. So map through and rendering as to-do item. And passing down the data, the toggle data and the toggle delete handlers. And finally, we showed the to-do stats, this component passing the total number of to-dos and the number completed. And for this, if you think this is a little annoying, you can just define it here separately. Yeah, just do it as you prefer. Yeah, this is how I prefer, to be honest. And notice how all state and logic live in the parent, this to-do add. All logic and all functions live in here, and we just pass props to children over here inside the return block. So this is classic React. Data flows down and events bubble up via props. So let's just start writing some code for the components. And let's just start with the add to do form. Let's go. Let me just create the components folder. No, and writing this. Leave it right there. And let's just start together. And we're going to build this add to the form component. This will be a controlled form, whether the user types new to do and hits submit to edit. We want this component to receive a function from the parent called onAdd, which takes a string, the new to do text, and let's define that in our props type. Yeah, because we are using the TypeScript, and you always need the type for everything. So this is perfect, and this is the type that I wanted to use. So as I've described, we need the text, the string type for the new to do. And this is a function, so it's returning void. So yep. And inside the component, we'll use state to keep track of the input text. So const, yep, exactly. So it's gonna track the value and we're gonna store the text value as well. And let's add two functions, one to handle input changes and one to handle form submission. So let's just go ahead. No, I'm gonna make the handle change first. And if you're new to TypeScript, ignore these types for now. This just means it's the change event and it's for the input element. So you don't need to worry about that right now. And we're gonna setting the text as the value that user types in. And we're gonna add one more, thank you, but no. And we're gonna type one more function here. Yeah, I forgot to give the prop here. So, okay, add to the props. So it should be like on add. And remember that destructuring that we just covered. So we are gonna just do that. And let me just walk you through these functions right now. Yeah, I covered the handle change. So let me just walk you through the handle submit right now. And remember that event prevent default one that prevents users to reroll the entire page. So we need to add this, and then we're going to add the small, simple validation here, which this is only checking that if user is not just typing the spaces like this and giving the empty string to the new object, new to-do object. So we're going to checking this. And if that text the user gave is only the spaces, it's gonna early return, and we are not gonna add that text to the to-do arrays to the list. So we're gonna just only return that. And if that's not just spaces, we are gonna add that text to on add. So that's just what that means. And we're always gonna clear the input field after submitting. That's kind of our pact to do that. And then going to the return block for now. Ooh, except for these class names that I don't want, it's kind of perfect. So for now, we have form tag around this because we want to submit this form. And we bind the input value to state, which is value to text, and changes go through this handle change. And when the user submits the form, handle submit triggers over here with on submit handler, and we're keeping the UI simple here and just input and a button as we did on the previous example. And this pattern is super common for form inputs in React. Control the value with state and trigger a function on submit. So this is the form, and we're gonna uncomment here and importing it. Cool. And now let's go to the second component, child component. So we have a to-do item. This component, let's just make it. Do. And this component will render a single to-do and provide a checkbox to toggle it, plus a button to delete it. And each to-do item receives the following from its parent to-do, which is the actual to-do object with ID, text, and done, and on toggle, a function to toggle the completed state. And on delete, a function to delete the to-do. So let's define the props type. We are running out of time, so no time for Copilot. So, no, we didn't need it. Yeah, and remember that we already created this to-do type here, so we can just export it and use it here, importing it. And now inside the component, we'll destructure the props and use them in JSX. So we can just do it like this. Do it like this. Remember the destructuring. And then in the return block, we're gonna add the list item with the style, a little bit of style, so you can adjust them if you want. And we have a checkbox, and we have a text, and we have a button to delete. So to break this down, the checkbox shows whether the to-do is completed with this property, the checked property tied to this to-do's done status. And when toggled, we call on toggle and pass the to-do's ID here. So we are checking if that to-do, if we have the matching ID of that to-do object, and we're going to toggle that status. And we show the to-do text, and if it's done, we add a line through style. It's just what I prefer, so you can adjust whatever you want. And the delete button calls on delete with the to-do's ID. Same with the on toggle function. And you could also improve this with accessibility or add styling, but for now, we're just keeping it simple, so we can just leave it like this. So going back to the app function and uncomment this part and importing the component. Yeah, we are almost done. So going to the last piece of child component. So yep, it's just and we've added to-dos, we've toggled and deleted them, and now let's display some progress. This final component will show how many to-dos are completed out of the total. And this is a pure presentational component. It doesn't need to manage state or fire any events. It just receives two numbers, total and completed. So let's just create that together real quick. So, oh, what? Okay, and boom, we start from here. And as we are running out of time, let's copy and paste. And as I've described, we only need total and completed, which are both numbers. And we're going to add the props here with destructuring form, completed. And for the return block, we only need to show the p tag, only show this ratio. So we are just rendering this p tag that shows this ratio. So I added a small check emoji for a little visual clarity, but if you hate it, you can remove it. And this component doesn't re-render unless it props the total or completed change, which makes it efficient and predictable. So even though this component is tiny, it's a great example how React encourages breaking your UI into small reusable units. Because to be honest, we can just like copy and put it here like p tag, right? But it's a recommended way from React to make the UI into the smaller parts and reusable parts. So we can just go into the best practice. So for now, we have this fully functional to-do application. So that's our final component. That was our final component for the to-do app. We now have everything wired together: form, list, item, interaction, and stats. Let's just see how this works in browser. Yeah, we're almost there. So see it here. Boom. Not that pretty, but not ugly, so which is ideal. So let's just see, we have a heading here, and we have the form that we just created, and we have a stats that, oops, sorry, my translator, and which is a stat to show the ratio of the total and the completed. And the list of the to-do are hidden for now because there's zero to do here. So let's just add, say hi to Till. Sorry, I mentioned your name so many times. And run and drink. sleep. It's all my to-do list. And I think I say hi to Patel, so it's completed. And for drink, I actually don't drink. So let me just delete it. And sleep, I'm definitely gonna sleep. So let's just keep it completed. And I'm not gonna run, so just leave it as unchecked. So you can see it's dynamic and it's updated like automatically without noticing. We didn't even notice it's changing and it's re-rendered. So it's so fast, so you can't even see. Ha ha ha! It's so fast, right? And it's working perfectly, and it's working as we expected, which is the goal for us to do. And remember that I mentioned that it was like I have made this to-do app so many times during the live coding interviews. So when you have that type of interview, you can think about me, and we can just pass that interview together. So yeah, we are almost there. And let me just bring you back to the slides. Say bye to the browser. And this is, yep. And then, yep, we are going to see the new features in React 19. And React 19 got stable recently, like last December. And even though it's a stable release, it brings some pretty bold new changes to the way we build with React. So to wrap up the session before Q&A, and I want to highlight three key features that are getting a lot of attention. So you can and for the first one, you can now define asynchronous form handlers in your component using the actions prop on a form tag. So look at this form. It's looking so different from what we built together. So for now, there's no on submit, no on change, no on click. So what's happening? So this means you can handle form submissions without writing a bunch of state or effects. You don't need use state for input, use effect for loading, or even a handle submit function. So basically what we did on the to the form on the project. React handles it declaratively and makes the UX better by default with built-in support for loading states and error boundaries. So if you're into React 19, you can refactor our project that we built together with these actions form prop. I think it would be so much fun. And the second change is the new React compiler. And this one is a game changer, especially for performance. The new compiler does automatic memoization. So you no longer need to wrap components with React memo or optimize functions with use callback. And previously, as you can see on the screen, we have to wrap up that component with React.memo, or we need to use the use callback for optimizing functions. But for now, we don't need to do any of this. React will analyze your code and prevent unnecessary renders on its own. So this can make a big difference in larger applications where performance tuning can get complicated. So we don't need to say bye to React memo and use callback. And we don't need to memorize these things anymore. And the last thing we need to look into is use optimistic hook. This lets you optimistically update the UI before the server confirms your change. So as you can see on the screen, use optimistic is a React hook that lets you update the UI immediately without waiting for the server response. So optimistic, so in one line, to be short, we update the UI first, and React will lower it back if server fails. So with add optimistic to-dos, we just give the UI to show the state without while waiting for the server. and the server fails, we're just going back to the previous state. So it's gonna be so much better for the UX significantly. So yeah, it's a huge step. So React 19 is taking these huge steps toward making modern UI code more declaratively efficient and ergonomic. Even if you don't adopt everything right away, it's worth keeping these changes on your radar. So especially if you're building like anything at scale. So, all right, that brings us to the end of the workshop portion. Let's quickly recap everything we've covered today, and then we'll open it for questions if we have time left. And then, so we started with the basics, what React is, why it's so widely used, and how it helps us build interfaces more declaratively and modularly. And we looked at how JSX allows us to write HTML-like code in JavaScript, and how props make components reusable, and how state lets us track changes in our application. And then we built a full to-do app together using TypeScript and functional components. We practiced lifting state up, working with controlled components, and handling user interactions like toggling and deleting. And finally, we explored three major features in React 19: the actions prop from forms, the new React compiler for performance, and use optimistic for smoother UX. And if you're just getting started with React, the most important thing is start small and build something, whether it's a to-do app, movie tracker, or your own personal site. Just start coding and running by doing. But you just saw me using so many copilots, but I think that helps you too. So React's ecosystem is big and it evolves so fast, but the fundamentals we just covered today will stay relevant no matter how far the library grows. So you did a good job. So I think we've got a little bit of time left. So I'd love to hear from you. And if you don't have it for now, you can just DM me or email me, which is on here. I always promote my LinkedIn profile. So yeah, here's my chance to get connected with people. Anyone? If you don't have any questions, we can just do. Yeah, I always take pictures with everyone attending the event and making the GIF thing, waving hand. So if you want to do that, we can just skip the Q&A. But if you have one, you can just bring it up right now. You can just ask anything in general about my interview, about how I got into Cloudflare, which I haven't figured out yet. I I can't really tell. All right.
This is your time to ask questions, guys. If you're a bit shy, you can put it on the comment section so we can read it out loud for you.
Yeah, or connect me on LinkedIn and ask it there. I love it. Or yeah, I think I think everyone is tempting to do this instead of asking questions. Okay, let me just show you how my ritual is going. Okay, here.
Okay, we have one question in the comment.
Oh, yay!
So what is your favorite programming language or framework to work with?
Favorite? Favorite
Programming language?
language?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say TypeScript for sure, because like I've tried like so many languages other than TypeScript, but I don't know why, but I didn't find anything interested. So sorry for them, but I think TypeScript is I think one and only my favorite. So Yeah, and the framework, to be honest, React is the first choice, and the second choice is Next.js because I've worked with Next.js for like 1.5 years, only for the startups. Because I don't know why, but in South Korea, so many startups like recommend us to use Next.js. I think I don't know why, but I think it's a full blown framework. I think that's why. So I think that's my second choice. And there's no third, there's no first. So can you tell me your learning journey and what type of technique is used? Thank you so much for the question. Loving it. Learning journey. Ah, okay. It's kind of tricky because I had no computer science background. I was a communications degree. I was a communication major, and thank you so much giving up for the communication major people here. And yeah, and I started to like hype on. I started to thinking that I need to hop on that programmers hype around 2019, I guess. And I started to start my school, which is in the UK, like, which is of like distance learning, so which is like 100% online. And I started the school journey over there, and I started my career from like 2 years later, which is 2021. And learning journey was so tough because I had another job and I had to like learning by myself. And YouTube, so many YouTube and like other video things, courses that I took. I think that helped me a lot. And learning journey, to sum up, I think it's like 3 to 5 years. Yeah, because I was like computer, how to say, like I was the person, I forgot the term, so I was a person who was so bad at suck at computers. I didn't even how to use the Excel at the time. I was that bad, but so I think it took me a lot of time to become an engineer. And what type of technique I used, I just keep doing it. I didn't like, yeah, I didn't, I was thinking to give up a lot of times because, oh, maybe computer is not my thing. Maybe I should give up, and maybe I should considering taking another, career instead of being an engineer. And but after a lot of this like self doubt, I just started thinking that, okay, let me just do it. Like people can do it, why not me? So that's my technique, I guess. Like other than that, I watched a lot of video courses and YouTube things. And if you're a front-end engineer, I recommend you to take courses from Kent C. Dawes. I forgot his I forgot his real name. Yeah, this is his name that I was saying. Yeah. Eh? Oh, I can see that. I think this is the name. Can you tell me? Sorry, I was repeating the same question. So, yeah, any other questions? And please add me on LinkedIn, and you can see if you're attending my ritual to making the GIF, you can see me on there. You probably, yeah, I think it's 100% sure that I'm gonna do. So if you feel okay, you can turn on your camera and join my lecture. Oh, in real world projects, what's one mistake you see developers make often when building React, and how can we avoid it early on in our learning journey? Oh, I think I think I have the answer because I've made so many mistakes about this because I neglected test codes a lot. I neglected writing test codes a lot of times, and after something happened, after I broke something, I realized I could have avoided that mistake by just adding some unit tests, some end-to-end tests. But yeah, I've done so many, yeah, I've neglected so many times on writing test codes, and I've seen so many times like other people do that too. So I think it's a common mistake. But if you're like tight on deadline, people like, okay, let me just write the test code later, and we never do that. And I think that's a common mistake. So I think for if I were you, I would writing the test code earlier in the learning journey, like after you have some confidence around writing the working code and functional code, and then I think I would start writing some test codes because I've learned that like I just started running that recently, so I think I regret that. I regret that I did. Okay. Just keep commenting me if you have any questions, or DM me or email me. But email, I would say I would not be a quick replier. I would be so slow. And if you're okay, and if you end this workshop with my ritual, if you feel okay, if you feel okay, and if you're okay to film, if you're okay for me to film, please turn your camera. Oh, what led you to being an ambassador for WTM? Oh, because I co-founded a women in tech community in South Korea, and we've been running that community for over 6 years, and we have like 11,000 users there. And I think, like, speaking of South Korea, the country size, 11,000 is pretty big, right? So that kept us like running this community and participating these type of events. So I think WTM made us to be more, more worldwide and giving us more chances to connect with people around the world. And I think that excites me. And if you're okay, oh, thank you for turning on the camera. Thank you so much. If everyone is okay, let me just start recording. I know it's silly, but I love doing it. So this makes me like post on the LinkedIn more often because I want to share this gracefully moment with everyone in the world. Okay, thank you so much. Ah, thank you. Let's turn on our camera and go. Thank you so much. Oh, but Eden, I can see your face. Did you turn on your camera? Sorry. But I don't. Maybe I should turn off that sharing thing, right? Then I can see. Oh, sorry, I was only seeing three of us. So I was. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My dream come true. It's switching a lot, so let me just capture this moment real quickly. Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be amazing. Thank you so much. If you prefer, I'm gonna share this GIF that I'm gonna make. it's gonna be twice speed the usual. So it's gonna be so fast like this. And I'm gonna share that if you want. And thank you so much. Yeah, and if you have like more questions and before you go into the bed or you take shower, the questions come in your mind, and just text me through the LinkedIn or just email me. Yeah, I'm open to any media that I'm in. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And it's been a so much honor to be in this WTM Ethiopia. Thank you so much. And my one of my goals in life is to go to Addis Ababa. Am I pronouncing it right? Maybe not. Sorry, guys. I'm so bad at the languages. Thank you so much. Yeah, any questions? Just drop anything.
So I, I think we're wrapping up.
Yep.
Yeah, we a big thank you, Go, for sharing your time and energy and expertise with us tonight. We
Thank you
truly
so
appreciate
much.
everything you have taught us. We love you so much, Sarangi.
미트 사랑해. Thank you so much. Oh,
감사합니다.
감사합니다. After your like kind words, after hearing your kind words, I think it's worth sweating this whole time. Thank you so much. I'm so touched, and I think it was a really great time, like connecting with you all. And yeah, I think I put a lot of effort doing this, but I think it was really worth it and spreading this thing that I know, even though it's small. Yeah. So if you have like anything you want to ask or like about interview or resume, anything, I'm really open to any of these. So I'm so just open to anything. So just drop me a message or email me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank
감사합니다.
you. 사랑해.
Thank you.
감사합니다. Bye bye. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
And everyone, stay a little bit longer so that you can fill out your attendance. I'll be dropping the attendance on the comments. So here is the also make sure to follow us on social medias. I'll be sharing the link for that as well. Mm, there you go. And here is the attendance form. Thank you very much, everyone. Fill out the attendance so that you can be, so we can keep up with you and share a group, share your groups through Gmail. So thank you very much, guys.
Please don't forget to fill out as Eden said, so we can group together and do a project and recording of this, including the notes. So don't forget to fill out the form. And thank you so much, everyone.